88,379,695,320 naira, accumulating 55% of the total budget. Governor Adeleke also pegged the state revenue projection at 199,573,229,320 naira, while the state's share from the federal allocation stands at 221,680 naira. Earlier in his remarks, Speaker of the Osun State House of Assembly, Ademola Adeleke, noted that the implementation of the 2025 budget has produced results, commending the governor for what he described as prudence in financial management.
The implementation of previous budgets, particularly the 2024 and 2025 plans, has produced measurable outcomes in infrastructure, education, health care, social inclusion, and workers' welfare. These successes are evidence of a government determined to turn policy into that tangible benefit for the people. Notes with appreciation your restraint, diplomacy, and dedication to peace during the local government administration dispute, which, if mishandled, would have undermined stability.
It will be recalled that Governor Adeleke presented 390 billion naira as the 2025 budget before it was jacked up to 427 billion naira owing to some reallocations and additions, as infrastructure and education gulped 166 billion naira out of the actual budget size. While commenting on the 2026 budget presentation, some of the lawmakers commended Governor Adeleke's administration, lauding his commitment to workers' welfare amid the local government allocation seizure.
There's no local government that we have in Osun State that we do not have a major road construction going on. There's no federal constituency we have in Osun State that we do not have a major road construction going on. There's no senatorial district. You said it while you were reading your speech, Mr. Governor. There's no senatorial district in Osun State that we do not have a major express road or a flyover going on. Mr. Governor, you have managed to meet every obligation as the leader of our dear state without a single protest and extraordinary feat of governance, especially in the face of unjust withholding of our local government allocations, through wisdom, prudence, and unwavering commitment. You have kept the shift of the state steady, delivering progress in education, healthcare, infrastructure, agriculture, and workers' welfare, all while fostering peace and unity across our community.
The 2026 budget presentation is coming against the backdrop of financial mismanagement allegations by the All Progressives Congress (APC), which the state government has dismissed, maintaining that no money has been borrowed since the administration's inception. Following the 2026 budget presentation, the State Assembly is expected to conduct a thorough scrutiny.
5 trillion naira over the 54.74 trillion naira initially proposed by the executive. In a related development, a motion by Senator Abdul Ninge was adopted, directing the Senate Committee on Appropriations to intensify its oversight to ensure that the borrowed funds are properly implemented in the 2025 fiscal year and used strictly for their intended purposes. President Bola Tinubu has urged media practitioners in Nigeria to freely criticize government policies, but to do so with knowledge, fairness, and a sense of national responsibility. The president made the appeal at the All Nigerian Editors Conference in Abuja, where he acknowledged the vital role of the media in shaping public discourse and strengthening democracy. President Tinubu cautions journalists against using criticism to undermine the nation's progress, stressing that the media must remain partners in building a stronger and more united country. The conference themed democratic governance and national cohesion. The role of editors brought together editors, senior journalists, and policymakers to reflect on how the media can strengthen unity and national challenges. President Tinubu commended the Nigerian press for its historical role in advancing justice and democracy, recalling how journalists endured intimidation, detention, and personal hardship in the defense of the public good. He, however, cautions that the digital age has amplified misinformation, making the editorial function more critical than ever.
Seek to improve. The national interest must always remain paramount. We live in a time when information travels rapidly and widely. social media has made every citizen a potential publisher. This has benefits, but it also increases the speed and scale of misinformation. Falsehood can take root before truth has time to speak. In such an environment, the editorial function is more important than ever. Verification must be your anchor. Balance must be your principle. And professional judgment must be your guide. I urge you, therefore, to continue upholding the highest standard of journalism. Report boldly, but do so truthfully. Criticize government policy, but do so with knowledge and fairness. Your aim must never be to tear down what we are building together, but to help build a better society.
Moving on, the Minister of Defense, Muhammad Badaro, says the ministry is investigating the confrontation between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and the naval officer, A.M. Yarima, over a disputed piece of land in Abuja. Speaking during a news briefing to commence activities for the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day at the National Defense College, Abuja, Mr. Badaro said the armed forces would not abandon any personnel carrying out lawful duties. The confrontation occurred yesterday when Mr. Wike visited the site and alleged that the military had taken over the land illegally. Beyond the incident, Mr. Badaro used the briefing to unveil new initiatives aimed at strengthening military operations, veteran welfare, and national security. He announced that the federal government had initiated a program tagged Reclaiming the Ungoverned Space for Economic Benefits program, which will deploy retired yet agile military veterans to help secure and rehabilitate areas previously occupied by terrorists. While former Chief of Army Staff Tukur Buratai has criticized the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, over his face-off with military personnel over a disputed plot of land on Tuesday, videos surfaced online showing Wike in a heated argument with military personnel at a site in Abuja, the nation's capital. In a statement, Buratai said the incident poses a clear threat to national security and requires an immediate and serious response. Buratai asked Wike to immediately issue an apology to President Bola Tinubu as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria and the officer whose honor was violated. In Edo State, the government has confirmed the arrest of over 300 cult leaders in the last year across the state during raids carried out by the Special Security Squad. A statement by the coordinator at Edo State Special Security Squad, Noah Idemudia, also stated that several buildings belonging to suspected cartels have been demolished, reaffirming Governor Monday Okpalo's commitment to getting rid of cartels and kidnappers in the state. Earlier this year, Governor Okpalo signed into law the Secret Card and Similar Activities Prohibition Law 2025 and the Kidnapping Prohibition Amendment Law 2025. The laws impose strict penalties, including a mandatory 10-year jail term for anyone who harbors cartels, 21 years for cartels who cause injury or damage property, and a death penalty for kidnappers in cases where victims lose their lives. In other news, the Senate leader, Okpeyemi Bamidele, has dismissed reports of an alleged attempt to remove Senate President Godswill Akpabio, calling them misleading and designed to create unnecessary tension within the National Assembly. Speaking during plenary, Senator Bamidele clarified that no discussions or plans have taken place among senators regarding Senator Akpabio's removal. He emphasized that the Senate remains united and focused on pressing national matters rather than being distracted by false claims. The clarification came in response to remarks by Senator Orji Uzor of Abia North, who had recently referenced previous unsuccessful attempts to impeach the Senate president. Senator Bamidele reaffirmed that there is no intention within the Senate to consider the removal of any of its leadership members, underlining the chamber's cohesion and focus on governance. Deputy Chairman of the House Committee on Petroleum Resources, a member representing Kano Municipal Federal Constituency, Sagir Ibrahim Koki, has announced his resignation from the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP). In a letter addressed to the chairperson of Zaitawa Ward, Mr. Koki explained that a persistent internal crisis under the party's leadership had hindered his ability to effectively represent his constituents. He expressed appreciation to the NNPP for giving him the opportunity to serve, describing the experience as being valuable and memorable. His departure comes barely 2 days after Abdul Mumin Jibrin, another lawmaker who represents Kiro Bebeji Federal Constituency, also resigned from the NNPP and rejoined the All Progressives Congress (APC). The detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has asked the Court of Appeal, Abuja, to stay further proceedings in his trial by Justice James Omotosho at the Federal High Court, Abuja. According to the court's documents filed, Kanu is praying the appeal court to stop Justice Omotosho from delivering judgment in this case on November 20, 2025, as scheduled, pending the hearing and determination of the appeal against the High Court's decision in the case. Kanu premised his application on the grounds that in spite of the jurisdictional questions raised before the Federal High Court, the trial court refused to rule on them. He added that the trial court refused to evaluate the evidence of the prosecution witnesses vis-a-vis the cross-examination questions to determine whether the evidence was discredited on the cross-examination. He faulted the decision of the court on the no-case submission as refusal to determine its jurisdiction and the validity of the counts under which the appellant has been tried, and its foreclosure of the appellant's right to defend the case by fielding witnesses. He noted that it was in the interest of justice to grant his application and allow the matter to be taken on the merits. Still to come, ICPC secures conviction of 2 National Assembly staff members for fraud. We'll bring you more on this when we return. Stay with us.